Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to recession proof or try to recession proof our portfolios as much as we can. The US and the UK are both in recession as I record this video. So I'm going to give you 5 companies that I think should be able to weather any storm and perform slightly better than other companies and other portfolios in times of hardship, shall we say. I'm going to give you a breakdown of what the 11 sectors in the stock market are, and I'm going to give you a breakdown of the ones that I think perform best and a few that don't perform very well, and we should look to avoid the ones that don't perform very well at the moment. And as we're in very uncertain times, we should be looking to add the sectors that do typically perform not so badly in times of hardship. I just need to say before we go any further, I don't think you should be waiting for dips in the market and recessions in order to buy things cheaply. I think you should buy things cheaply when they are cheap, but I think you should be investing continuously, week by week, month by month, and dollar cost average, and invest for the long haul all the time. If you try to invest in just dips, you could be waiting a very long time for the next big dip. So just keep investing in good quality companies, look at the fundamentals, and work out for yourselves whether you think it's a good way to go. So we've started on my my portfolio here. I'm just going to give you a list of the, should be right there, I think, if I'm working this whole recording video YouTube things out correctly. We should have a list of the sectors in the stock market. So we've got materials, industrials, financials, energy, consumer discretionary, information technology, communication services, am I looking the right way? Healthcare, consumer staples, utilities and real estate. So let me give you the 2 that I feel are the best ones. The best ones, best 2 sectors for a period of economic downturn. Consumer staples. You're always going to need food, you're always going to need clothes, you're always going to need grooming products, baby products, this, that, and the rest of it. So consumer, people are going out and buying things and consuming things, but staples, stuff that people need. The other thing that does quite well generally would be your information technology and your communication services. Your tech sectors generally do okay because everything's, or a lot of the stuff is online, and your communication services is a lot of entertainment products within communication services, and if people are out of work, they still need entertaining, so you get a lot of I think entertainment services is a sector as a whole that still does very well within very poor periods of economic downturn. So consumer staples definitely, communication services and information technology as well are 2 sectors that typically will do not so bad in a period of recession. The ones that don't do very well at all, so try and stay away from financials. We've seen it more recently, although what's happened in March didn't start as a financial crisis. It's certainly turning into one, and the banking sectors aren't doing very well at all. Let me just give you a snapshot of, you probably can't see all of this, but you can now. Here we are. HSBC, one of the biggest banks in the world, 5th, 6th biggest, I think. Around February and March, real serious downturn. You see that? And it's just gone down since. It's not bounced back up at all. So poor, very poor. Over 1,144 pounds down with HSBC. So financials, try and steer clear of those if we're heading into a period of uncertainty. And the other one will be consumer discretionary. Really, people still consume, and a lot of people will still consume things they don't necessarily need because people still want them, but it's discretionary. It's not something that people typically need to be buying, and so therefore that sector typically doesn't do as well. So let's get straight into the ones that I think are probably some of the best. I'm going to use Seeking Alpha for this, and we'll have a look at the fundamentals, and we'll look at why I think they're good performers in recessions. So first one is Walmart, everybody's favourite supermarket. So Walmart is, you all know, massive in America, and actually they own Asda in the UK as well. Asda would be considered a more budget supermarket in the UK. If we have a look at the fundamentals, we're at 25 PE, which isn't at all bad for a company this big, and you're probably buying it at the moment at one of its sort of peaks, really, because it's done very well recently. So I think for a company to buy and hold forever and ever and ever, 25 PE is not too bad at all. Let's have a quick look at the shape up, how the dividend shape up. 47 years worth of growth, 40% payout ratio, absolutely brilliant, and a small yield, which is absolutely fine. So that's number one. People are always going to need food, always going to need clothes, they're always going to need products, baby products, grooming products, anything, and Walmart does it all, and they're considered more budget. I think your more expensive consumer products and supermarkets and shops will suffer in recession, times of recession. So let's look at number two. Number two for me is, it might be on here, in which case you'll work the rest of them out as well. Waste management. One of Warren Buffett's biggest holdings. Bill Gates's one of Bill Gates's biggest holdings, I think. No matter what's happening in the world, waste has got to go somewhere. We need someone to be taking all away, and Waste Management do exactly that. And they're one of the biggest waste management companies in the US, if not the biggest. Now, if we have a look at the fundamentals here quickly, let's go into 30 P ratio 30. So you know, it would be considered on the higher side for a lot of people, but again, this is a company that you're going to be getting into your portfolio in order to outperform others. It's a massive company that will just go on forever. I don't think there's really a bad time to be buying this, to add it into a portfolio if you want your portfolio to be recession proof. We've got a 57% payout ratio, which is reasonable. It's been growing its dividend for 17 years, which is great, and we've got a little yield as well. So this is a company that is always going to be needed, no matter what's happening in the world. It's always going to be needed, okay? Because we don't stop producing waste as a species, unfortunately. So number 3. This is a bit of a controversial one. The Altria Group. They produce the biggest producer of cigarettes in America, I think. They're in Marlboro, and they produce e-cigarettes. Very addictive. Should you be betting on or putting a company into your portfolio that produces addictive products? It's, you know, is it ethical? Is it morally right? Who knows? All I know is anybody has an option to say no, they don't want to use the products, but they don't. Altria is a fantastic company. Altria have been going for a lot longer this, but they've been growing their dividend for 51 years straight, because they just grew again this year. So they are a dividend king. 80% payout ratio, which is getting on the higher side, but I don't think too much to worry about. If they've been paying out for that long, I don't think they've got things covered. And a monster dividend yield. So if we look at the PE ratio, I think it's low, 9. So great company to be a part of. And it's always adapting as well. So they're growing in the e-cigarette world, and they own it. I did a video on this. I'll tag it up there about why I was buying it. That they own a portion, a percentage. You might be able to, I can't remember, of the beer manufacturer that makes Bud, which is one of the biggest beers and one of the biggest beer manufacturers in the world. So they got a lot of coverage over that sort of sector, really. But whether we like it or not, always going to be used. So why not get it into your portfolio? That's what I say. Number 4 is a double whammy. I'm going to get them both up straight up here because you would have seen them in the drop down anyway, because I've obviously looked at them already. Procter & Gamble, consumer staple. So fantastic company, being got a 25 P ratio, again for the kind of company it is, and the fact that it's going to be a defensive stock in a recession. Absolutely fine. 64 years growth in their dividends, absolutely amazing. Under a 60% payout ratio, which is the sweet spot. Reasonable yield as well. Consumer staples, always going to be used. People are always going to need the products. They're always going to use the products. So a safe, good, defensive stock for your portfolio in times of recession. This one comes hand in hand. 58-year dividend growth for Johnson & Johnson. 51% payout ratio, which is great. Reasonable yield. And we're at another 25 PE, I think. Oh no, I'm lying to you. And a PE of 18. So you can't go far wrong with either of these. If you've got X amount of money to put into each of these stocks, split that up and go half in Procter & Gamble, half in Johnson. Okay, fifth stock company that you should be putting into your portfolio a bit more for a defensive portfolio in times of recession is, oh, it's not up there. Service Corporation International. Death services. They are undertakers and provide death services, and they're certainly one of the biggest in America. I don't know if they are the biggest or how big they are, but they are certainly one of the biggest in America. You know, there's only two things in this world that you can be absolutely certain of, and that's death and taxes. Taxes come first, and then death, and then taxes on that for somebody else. So we've got a PE ratio of about 21. We have an okay dividend yield, a tiny payout ratio, which is great, and they've grown their dividend for 6 years, which is very nice, but it should be relatively safe. There are certain things that people will always need to do and will always do. People will always need to eat, consumer staples. Fortunately, people will, and this is probably in bad taste right now, but the fact of the matter is people will always die. And if you've got a company that will always be in business, why would you not invest in those companies and help them to grow and get them to do that process better? So that's a bit of a difficult one really at the moment, certainly to talk about, but it's something that if you're going to build a defensive portfolio and you want them to be performing reasonably well during a recession when other stocks and other sectors won't be doing very well. Another sector that won't do very well in times of recession is real estate. Just won't. But these sort of companies and these sort of sectors will be doing very well. This is a consumer staple, I think, in terms of the sector it's in. Either way, doesn't matter. Only two things you can rely on in this world, and that's death and taxes. So why not get something very defensive that's always going to be in business into your portfolio? So that's it today. Just the 5 stocks that I think you should be getting into your portfolio that will help it to become a bit more defensive in times of economic downturn. There'll be plenty of others. Put them down in the description of what you're getting into, what you think is the most defensive stock out there. Tell me if I've missed any. While you're doing that, click the like button, subscribe to the channel. Been a little while since I've had a video out, but I'm going to try and get them out weekly just to give you an overview of what I'm getting into and my thoughts processes sort of as to why I'm getting into things, and a few bits and pieces about the stock market and stocks and shares, what you should be getting in and out of, mostly dividend investing. So hit the like button, comment below, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.